Welcome everyone to this video on Forex brokers. In these set of videos, I'll basically explain to you exactly what a Forex broker is and what are the criteria. I'll outline what you need to know in order for you to make a nice comprehensive analysis of a Forex broker and say, okay, here's a Forex broker. Do they meet these requirements? Are they just trying to make money out of me? Are they a scam? Because there are a lot of scammers out there, people who are their only incentives, their sole incentive is basically to make money from you and for you to not make a profit in the forex market. So I'll be talking about what is a forex broker in this lecture, and then the next lecture I'll be talking about ECN, electronic communication network, and straight through processing brokers, and then market maker and hybrid brokers. And then fourthly, what to consider when choosing a broker. What are the criteria? What do you need to know in order for you to understand if the broker is trustworthy and if you should invest or put your trust in him and your money in him. And the fifth is the regulation in the UK, because the UK has one of the most stringent and the best regulations in the world, and the regulation in America, because a lot of the viewers for this course will be from America. And if you are in Australia and you want to know the regulations in that, just message me and tell me that you'd like to make a video on the regulation in Australia as well. Regulation is one of the most important things when considering a forex broker, because some brokers could scam you legally, depending on the regulation that they have. So let's say they're regulated in a country that no one's heard of, like some random country that has very bad regulations. They could legally scam you, and you can't do anything about it. And lastly, I'll just summarize. The last video will be me summarizing what we've learnt so far. So yeah, let's get started. So just imagine that you are a novice trader and you want to trade in the forex market. What would be the first place that you'd go? Well, you'd probably go to a forex bureau and say, you know what, I'm going to exchange my pounds for dollars, for example. Wait for the currency rate to increase and then exchange it back. Well, that would be a good idea to start off as a forex trader, but with the Forex Bureau, there are a lot of problems with it. First of all, the spread is extremely high, so they will charge you a lot of money for it. And then it's harder to be an intraday trader or a scalper. An intraday trader is basically someone who trades a few times a day. So they open a position, and before that day is ended, that position is closed. If you're going to trade at a Forex Bureau, that will not happen. And if you're going to be a scalper basically conducts more trades than an intraday trader. So they conduct loads of different trades in a very short amount of time. This will not work for you. And the third thing is that you have to travel. So you have to go to the Forex Bureau. And the fourth thing is that you would receive money in a tangible form. So what if you wanted to receive it online? What if you wanted that ease? And the fifth point would be that there is limited currency pairs. So when you go to the Forex Bureau, there's only a list of the amount of the currency pairs that you can trade on. And if you wanted to trade exotic pairs, you probably won't be able to trade like that. And the last point is that there's no leverage. So the Forex Bureau won't give you any leverage. So that's not very good, is it? It's not very efficient. So what is the other option? The other option is to trade on the interbank market. So here's me wanting to trade on the interbank market. So what is the interbank market? Well, the interbank market is an amalgamation of investment banks, large broking companies, commercial banks, multinationals, hedge funds, but predominantly their main players are investment banks, and they trade with each other at their own set quoted bid and ask prices on an electronic platform called the EBS, or Electronic Broking Services. And we spoke about this before, and they also use the Thomson routers and or the routers dealing 3000. And here is a list of the top 10 currency traders. So we have a Citigroup, JP Morgan, and these are essentially called liquidity providers or market makers. What does this mean? What does liquidity providers mean? Well, they simply put, they provide liquidity. So we spoke about liquidity before. Buying and selling was a lots of buying and selling in the market. Liquidity increases, and these investment banks, they allow people to buy and sell currencies from them. So they basically provide liquidity, and they set the bid and ask quotes. So they basically set the prices that you can buy currencies from them, and they set the prices at which you can sell to them, at which they can buy from you. And in that sense, they're called tier one liquidity providers. So there are lots of liquidity providers, but tier one are basically the investment banks, the foundational liquidity providers, the main market makers in the forex market. And just to reiterate, here is a list of the main tier one liquidity providers. They're comprising most of the market share in terms of the currency, the forex market. So if we go down here, so these set bid and ask quotes. So these prices, they're based on anticipated market conditions. So if the market is volatile, they will change the bid and ask prices that they give to you. And in a sense, they're basically making the market. So they're market makers because they're basically creating the market conditions for you, depending on the prices that they set for you. And the great news is that, yeah, they're the main foundational tier one liquidity providers, and we can actually interact with these massive companies. And it's an honor to be able to interact with these companies. And but we can't trade directly with them. We can't buy directly from them. We can't sell directly to them. So we have to go through a broker. So, what is a forex broker? A broker is an intermediary between a trader and the forex market. So, they can help you reach the forex market. So, they're the middle man in this, they're the go between. So, they connect you to the forex market. Not necessarily to the interbank, because there are two ways that they can connect you to the forex market: through the interbank or through the brokers themselves. If they're connecting you to the forex market via the brokers themselves, then the brokers that you have are the market makers. They're basically creating the market conditions for you. And I'll go into this in detail later on. And if they're connecting you to the interbank, they're normally DMA brokers or direct market access brokers. So let's put this into better words or visually. So here's you, you're a trader, and you want to reach the forex market so you can trade. Now you can go through the market maker brokers or MM brokers, or you can go through the DMA brokers. And for the market maker brokers, you're a trader and it's going to a broker. For the DMA broker, you're going through the broker and then to the interbank and then back. So it's a bit different. And how does a broker enable a trader to reach the interbank market? What do they have? What qualities do they have? Well, they normally have something that is referred to a prime brokerage agreement. So basically, the interbank is reserved for banks or companies with the highest credit ratings. So only those massive institutions that have built that sort of rating or sort of reputation to be able to be included in the interbank. And how does a broker reach the interbank? Well, it has a prime brokerage agreement with one of the banks. So they have a credit agreement with one of the banks. So one of the many banks in the interbank market. And with this agreement, they can actually reach the interbank market. That is sufficient or adequate for them to reach the interbank market, because in order to obtain this prime brokerage agreement, they need a good credit rating or score, and to be able to be established in a sense, and not only in terms of reputation but financially as well. So they'll have to deposit a certain amount of money as security just in case they go broke, because DMA brokers can get broke, and they might have to deposit, for example, $1 million as security just in case they get broke. So the banks can, or liquidity providers can eat from that money if they do get broke. So now they've got this established relationship with with one of the banks, they can actually trade with the interbank market, and they can get their good prices there, their low spreads, their very tight spreads, and they can feed it onto us. They can feed on the market conditions, everything onto us. And this is the predominantly the direct market access way. And talking about the direct market access, well, there are two types. There is the ECN, or we might get electronic communication network brokers, and STP, which is straight through processing brokers. And in the next lecture, we will be talking a lot about ECN and STP brokers. So I hope you've learned something about Forex brokers and the interbank market, and I hope to see you in the next video.